Welcome to the American Dream, where we bring you the best across the nation to talk about real estate, to talk about what's taking place in the market. And right now we get to feature the Los Angeles area and Orange County, California, actually. And we've brought some incredible advisors to talk about what's taking place as far as the financial market when it comes to real estate. We brought Ron Pickett. He's a real estate professional. We also have Jason Risley and Mark Prather. Both are wealth advisors, also specializing in real estate. Thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Well, Ron, let's start with you. I'd love to talk about kind of where you are, where you specialize, and what's taking place in Southern California, and especially where you specialize in the real estate market right now.
So I work at Coldwell Banker in Laguna Beach and live in Dana Point. And I typically specialize in Southern California, although I am willing to travel, and I have done lots of deals in San Diego as well as up in Los Angeles. But what I'm seeing as far as the current market, so in February, the California Association of Realtors said we were up 7% from the previous February, with 420,000 homes sold in California versus 387,000 the year before. So before we started this stay-at-home quarantine lockdown program, the market was hot months before it typically gets hot. What I'm seeing now in most cities of Orange County is a very slight seller's market. There's a few cities like Rancho Santa Margarita that are a very strong seller's market due to very low inventory. And that's pretty much what I'm seeing right now.
Well, that's really good news, because we're getting so much information when it comes to COVID or the financial crisis taking place in our nation right now. But when we talk about real estate, there's a different picture. So Jason, I'd like to bring it over to you, and let's talk about what real estate looked like before COVID, and also then what's taking place right now.
Yeah, that's a great question. And really, I echo what Ron said, in that January, February, we were having a fantastic market. It was as good as it's been since 2013, which is a fantastic year for real estate. Part of that was unemployment was really, really low. We had a great situation with unemployment, and interest rates were fantastic. And so it's interesting because we've changed markets now. And I echo what Ron said. There's low supply right now, and there's low demand. But the demand is still really interested in these low interest rates that are, right around 3%, which is the long-term rate of inflation. So there is still some demand, especially at the lower markets. The upper markets, it's a little slower, but there's still low supply and low demand. What we have to worry about is if prices were going to go down, we'd have that supply come way up. And right now they're just not there.
Well, that's great. And Mark, I'd love to hear from you as well on what you see as far as real estate, different from our economy right now, but where do you see real estate standing right now?
Well, what's amazing is I'm 62 years old. I've been in this industry for 44 years now, right out of high school. And I thought I'd seen everything. But what we're experiencing now is, it's unprecedented. And it's impacted people. First, we've seen an adjustment where 4 weeks ago, fear levels were at phenomenal levels. There was people were afraid, but it was manifesting in different ways. People were petrified about what was going to happen to the economy, what was going to happen to their lives, and so on. And the market started to lock up, and then the people started getting laid off. But in the last 2 weeks, there's been a pretty significant shift. Is the fear levels are diminishing. We're seeing properties where now the key point is the more affordable, which is, the homes under, let's say in Orange County, that's under about $800,000 or so. But in the affordable markets, people are coming out and there's multiple offers again. So the psychology is shifting very, very rapidly in a very positive way.
Well, what would you tell people right now, especially if they're afraid of buying or selling, especially buying right now? What would you advise?
Well, the key point is for all of us is our circumstance. So what does your job look like? If you have a job that you're not worried about getting laid off, maybe you're a fireman, you work for the county, or you're in a position where your company, in fact, there are companies that are booming in this environment, from pizza places to Amazon, right? So the whole key starts with your personal circumstance. If you feel great about your job security, then this is an epic opportunity for you. Because a lot of people, in fact, most people, frankly, are paralyzed by fear. Most people are, what's safe first? And so they sit on the sidelines. So if you're in a good place financially, good job security, you have an opportunity to get the deal You know, and how many people have been sitting on the sideline, especially millennials, that have been saying, I got to wait for prices to come down. I got to wait for prices to come down. And they've been waiting. And now we have this opportunity where there's like a break in the action. And everybody knows. And this is why the smart money people are getting in already.
Well, that's great information because people need real information, not making decisions based on fear, but on real facts and going to real advisors like yourself. Jason, so what are you advising people right now if what they're seeing in pricing, if they're maybe still afraid? How are you kind of talking them through that and giving them the real advice?
Yeah, what I'm thinking is we're definitely going to have not a lot of supply come on the market, but you're going to have some people that have to sell. And that's a sad situation. So, but we'll probably say 5 to 10% of the market, I'm going to say, is have to sell situation. We're all kind of wondering if the government stimulus packages are going to keep people afloat until we can get this economy back open. And quite frankly, there's a lot of business owners that just want to get this economy back open. And if we can do it soon enough, we might be okay. But if you have unemployment rate stay high, then I think there's going to be some good bargains in the real estate market, but it's kind of a sad situation at the same time.
So Ron, do you see this being a strong season going now into the third and fourth quarter with things kind of pushing back a little bit at what we see up ahead for the rest of the year?
Yes, well, we've got a couple things to look at. So again, I completely agree with Jason and Mark, what they're saying about, the stimulus package. But some of my mortgage advisors and my lenders, they're telling me that because of the marketplace, the lenders are not really wanting to make loans right now. So they're increasing the guidelines, making it more difficult, increasing FICO scores. And then, as Jason pointed out, we don't know if people are going to lose their job. Are you going to have a job a few months from now? And a couple of things that we should also look at that might influence everything. Right now, your appraisers have got very good comps to go off of because we did have good marketplace in February. What's going to happen is they have that 120-day curve, and the comps become less relevant and less valuable. So if we do start to see fire sales, that's going to really mess up the comps, make it difficult for someone who's trying to buy a home that is not putting down a tremendous amount of cash, that's actually dependent on the loan. Second point is, although we have reduced inventory, when we're thinking we would see a lot of fire sales, 74% of sellers, according to CAR, California Association of Realtors, 74% of sellers are not reducing their price. So they're kind of holding firm at that, at least at this point. So I would say if you're looking to buy a single family home for yourself that you're going to live in, not an investment property, and maybe not something, as Mark said, on the high end, that this would be a good time for you to go ahead and buy when you're going to have less buyers out there going through the trouble of putting on booties, putting on a mask, putting on gloves, and having to schedule a time to go see the home for the first time.
So are you finding that clients are reaching out and asking these questions, or are they hesitant to even reaching out to finding out what's really going on right now?
I love that phrase, what's really going on. My captain, the fire, always say that, right? So what's really going on is, yes, I would say as time is going, people in times of fear, they tend to pull back. So whereas we would see generally May and June is when everybody wants to move to that school district for their kids. But we're seeing now that people are like, well, let's just see how this goes, and maybe the market will go down. But this is when fortunes are made. So the people that are out there that are paying attention to the market, that are looking for a deal, they're getting a deal.
Jason, what last advice would you give to clients right now as they're reaching out? What are your words of wisdom?
Yeah, I think this is a painful time period, but I think we'll get over it. And so what I see is if you can get a great interest rate, that could be a 30-year fix going over a 30-year period. If we can come out of this in the next 3 months or so, and you can get a fantastic deal now and lock in a good 30-year fix, I would say it's a great time to buy and it's a great time to invest. But it's about finding the right deal and about getting an interest rate that we may never see this again. But this is incredible, the rates that we have today.
Yeah, people should definitely act on that. Absolutely. Mark, what about you? What last advice, if people are on the fence, what would you give as advice right now?
Well, I live by a philosophy of the bigger the crisis, the bigger the opportunity. Every crisis presents an opportunity. But the key is, and you alluded to it earlier, is you have to do your research. My company is called the Mark I Wealth Academy, and it's all about educating brokers, agents, and consumers about what's going on in the real estate market and how to invest and how to position themselves so that they can make good calls. See, when you know facts, it's not hard to make good decisions. It's when you're guessing that if you have all that uncertainty and you have a lot of fear. So do the research, learn the facts. But once you know the facts, then you see the opportunity and not just the crisis.
You hit it head on with that. And this is why we are so thankful to have experts like you that come on the show. It's so important that people reach out to the experts, get the real advice. And that's what we're about here on The American Dream. And I hope that our viewers reach out to you with any questions and they heard something they want to know more about. I know you guys would love to talk with them. Thank you so much for taking the time to be a part of The American Dream today. And we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.